Welcome to another show. Today we're going to compare two iconic sitcoms from the 1980s, Family Ties versus Growing Pains, a comparative analysis.
Takes a deep breath, reaches for the rosin bag, spits.
Will you just pitch the stupid ball?
I just did skate right 3, 2 outs.
Do you want to lift back to your hotel?
All right.
I forgot about that. Can you do that?
The 1980s were a golden era for television, particularly when it came to family sitcoms. Among the most beloved were Family Ties and Growing Pains, two shows that captured the hearts of viewers with their humor, warmth, and relatable family dynamics. Both series offered unique perspectives on family life, yet they shared several similarities. We aim to compare and contrast these two iconic shows. Family Ties premiered on NBC on September 22, 1982, and ran for 7 seasons until May 14, 1989. Created by Gary David Goldberg, the show centered around the Keaton family, led by parents Stephen, played by Michael Gross, and Elise, played by Meredith Baxter. They were former hippies navigating the challenges of raising a family in the Reagan era. The main characters were Stephen Keaton, a public television manager with liberal views and a deep sense of social justice. His wife was Elise Keaton, an architect and equally liberal partner to Stephen, balancing her career and family life. The oldest son was Alex P. Keaton, portrayed by Michael J. Fox, a conservative, ambitious young man with a passion for economics and politics. Then there was Mallory Keaton, the fashion-obsessed, somewhat ditzy middle child played by Justine Bateman. Another sister was Jennifer Keaton, the youngest daughter, portrayed by Tina Yothers, a tomboyish and sarcastic character. Then there was Andy Keaton, the youngest sibling, born later in the series, adding new dynamics to the family. Family Ties often explored the clash of ideologies within a single family. The generational gap between the liberal parents and their conservative son, Alex, provided much of the show's humor and dramatic tension. The series addressed various social and political issues of the time while maintaining a warm, comedic tone. The show was a critical and commercial success, earning Michael J. Fox 3 Emmy Awards for his portrayal of Alex. Family Ties is remembered for its witty writing, strong performances, and the way it reflected the changing political landscape of the 1980s. Most people don't realize, but Michael J. Fox's first audition was deemed terrible by Gary Goldberg because Fox came off too smart-alecky.
Having been the first person who read Lloyd Garver turned to the assembled group and said, "Well, I like him. It's good, yeah." But Gary didn't like me, didn't want to see me again. But I knew that there was something there, so I kept calling Judith Weiner, and I kept saying, "Get me back in again." And she said, "No, I'd like to get you a call back, but Gary doesn't want to see you." I just knew that was my part. I just knew it was my part. I knew I got it. I understood it. I knew how to make it. I thought I knew how to make it funny. I was basically just playing my brother.
Ben, you're supposed to be in bed by 9 o'clock.
I was. Nobody said anything about how I'm going to stay there.
Would you just leave my buddy Ben alone, all right?
And it's got to stop. The party is over.
You're right, Alex.
According to Michael J. Fox's last Spin City episode in 1996, Alex P. Keaton became a Republican senator from Ohio. Mallory's boyfriend, Nick, was primarily a clone of Fonzie from Happy Days, complete with his trademark "hey" and leather jacket, and only intended to be a one-shot character. However, Scott Valentine made a strong impression on the show's audience and producers, making Nick a recurring character. Nick proved so popular that the producers tried to give him his own series, though the pilot never sold. Michael Gross once stated in an interview that he didn't feel like Stephen Keaton had much dimension or depth until the character of Nick appeared. He cited this addition as a major reason for staying on the show. When Meredith Baxter became pregnant during the hiatus between the second and third seasons, her pregnancy was written into the show. However, she was still written out of several episodes after giving birth to twins in real life. This show was a long-time staple of NBC's must-see TV Thursday night lineup. After season 5, the show moved from Thursday night following The Cosby Show to Sunday night. The show was dropped from second place in the ratings to number 17 due to the move, and the ratings declined even further in season 7, leading to the cancellation of the show. Despite being the breakout star of the series, most of the cast and crew agreed that Michael J. Fox remained grounded and a gentleman throughout the run of the series. Fox never demanded star treatment and always deferred to the older actors in the cast. That's even after Back to the Future came out, making him a huge movie star. When NBC wanted to give Fox special billing in the opening, he declined and remained the third billed actor for this entire series. Speaking of Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox was approached during the second season about starring in that movie, but executive producer David Goldberg would not allow Fox the time off to make the film. Because of delays in the film, Fox was approached again during the third season, and this time Goldberg and the film's producers worked out a schedule that would allow Fox to work on both projects simultaneously. Mondays to Thursdays, Fox would rehearse for the series during the day and then work on the film all night. On Friday nights, the series would tape their episodes. As soon as the taping finished, he would go to the film set and work all weekend. Alex and Ellen's love theme was At This Moment by Billy Vera and the Beaters. The song was originally recorded and released in 1981 and went largely unnoticed.
What did you think I would do at this moment?
After being featured in the series, the single was re-released in the fall of 1986 and reached number 1 on the Billboard Top 100 Pop chart in early 1987. The producers originally wanted Matthew Broderick to play Alex P. Keaton, but the actor had to decline the role when his father became terminally ill. Coincidentally, Broderick's father, James Broderick, played Meredith Baxter's father in the drama Family from 1976. Justine Bateman has admitted in recent interviews that after the cancellation of Family Ties and with the dwindling of her fame, she became very depressed for a while and a bit of an identity crisis. But she said this forced her to become stronger and develop new skills, like going back to school and getting her computer science degree at UCLA, as well as becoming a clothing designer and a producer. She said she is much happier now that she has more autonomy and is not so dependent on fame for self-reliance. This show benefited from following The Cosby Show every Thursday night on NBC. However, before the 1987 to 88 season, Bill Cosby requested that another show focusing on African Americans follow his, due to the low number of them on television. The result was A Different World from 1987, a show he helped create and produce that focused on an African American college. Family Ties was moved to Sunday night, where it took a big dip in the ratings. Then the show was canceled in '89 as the ratings continued to decline. Some critics and media observers have seen this show as a reverse parallel to All in the Family from 1971. Both shows primarily centered around political or philosophical generation gaps, with this show reversing All in the Family's dynamic of conservative parents and liberal kids. Gary David Goldberg said that it wasn't his intention, calling the reverse similarities a happy accident. Although they met and played boyfriend and girlfriend on the show,
Put that down. Can't you see I'm painting that?
both Michael J. Fox and Tracy Pollan were never involved with each other during their time together on that show. Fox was dating Nancy McKeon, and Pollan was dating Kevin Bacon at the time. It was only when they starred in Bright Lights Big City and both were single that they began dating and eventually married. Now let's talk about Growing Pains.
I knew I could count on you guys. If I've ever done anything miserable to affect your lovely lives, please tell me because I will never do it again.
The show premiered on ABC on September 24, 1985, and aired for 7 seasons until April 25, 1992. Created by Neil Marlins, the series focused on the Seaver family, with Father Jason, played by Alan Thicke, and Mother Maggie, played by Joanna Kearns, juggling their professional and personal lives while raising their children. The main characters of that show were Jason Seaver, a psychiatrist who works from home, allowing him to be actively involved in his children's lives. Maggie Seaver, the wife, is a journalist and later news anchor, balancing her career and family responsibilities. And there's the oldest son, mischievous and charming Mike Seaver, played by Kirk Cameron. The younger sister was Carol Seaver, intelligent and studious middle child, portrayed by Tracy Gold. The youngest son was Ben Seaver, played by Jeremy Miller, often finding himself in various predicaments. And then there was Chrissy Seaver, another young child, introduced later in the series, adding new dynamics to the family. Growing Pains primarily focused on the everyday challenges and humorous situations that arose within the Seaver household. The show emphasized the importance of family values, love, and understanding, While it occasionally touched on serious issues, it maintained a lighthearted and feel-good tone throughout its run. The series was well received by audiences and became a staple of 80s television. Alan Thicke and Kirk Cameron became household names, and the show launched the career of Leonardo DiCaprio. He joined the cast in the final season.
Mr. Seaver, what? You just said a feather in a coin would fall at exactly the same speed.
I certainly did not. Oh, I did.
Growing Pains is fondly remembered for its heartwarming stories and memorable characters. Rival network NBC poked fun at Growing Pains on their show Golden Girls in the episode Family Affair, where Dorothy claims, "I can't believe Alan Thicke has a hit series." About a decade after the original show wrapped, ABC hosted a Growing Pains reunion. All the original cast was present. During the show, Kirk Cameron admitted that during the run of the original show, he became a born-again Christian and for a while became very aggressive with the other cast members.
He'd be the first to tell you when he first found his faith. He went overboard. He went overboard. He didn't know how to do it. He cut everybody who didn't believe how he believed out of his life. I was about the only person in the industry he'd still talk to. And when we did the first Growing Pains reunion film, the first chance he got, he took us all aside and he apologized for his behavior back then. He said, I apologize. It took me a long time to realize what my faith was really about and what it meant to believe what I believe and who I should be. And I wasn't loving, I wasn't caring, I wasn't anything I was supposed to be being to you guys, and I'm sorry.
Joanna Kearns accepted his apology and said, "I'm glad you said that, because at the time I was like, stop telling me how to feel." Kirk Cameron, Tracy Golds, Jeremy Miller, Joanna Kearns, and Leonardo DiCaprio reunited at Alan Thicke's memorial service in 2016. It was the first time DiCaprio had reunited with most of the cast since the show's cancellation in 1992. Kirk Cameron and Tracy Gold played siblings in a McDonald's commercial before they played siblings on Growing Pains. In one episode, Mike discusses confusion over the Russian playwright Chekhov, saying he thought Chekhov was the Russian guy on Star Trek. Andrew Koenig, who played Mike's best friend Boner in the series, was actually the son of Walter Koenig, who played Chekhov on Star Trek. Alan Thicke was mainly known as a Canadian talk show host before appearing in this series. Most involved with the production didn't want him in the show, but when no one reading for the part fit the bill, he was auditioned and hired. Andrew Koenig played Mike's best friend, Richard Milhouse, Boner Stabone, for 4 seasons. As we discussed, he was the son of Walter Koenig, who played Chekhov on Star Trek. Sadly, Andrew Koenig decided to take his own life in 2010. After his death, Joanna Kearns said in an interview, "He was struggling then, just like he's been struggling now. It's very sad." Leonardo DiCaprio was brought on in a last-ditch effort to pump new life into the show and appeal to the teenage fan base, but the show's ratings did not improve. DiCaprio's character was dropped, and the show was canceled. This was another example of Cousin Oliver syndrome, which I discussed on a previous show. You can find the link in the description. That was an ill-fated ploy that producers used to pump up the ratings on a dying show where they bring in a cute little kid in the last minute. This was named after Oliver Tyler, a.k.a. Robbie Rist, on the Brady Bunch, who was Carol's nephew. He was sent to the Bradys as their ward when his parents decided to be missionaries and go to Africa for 2 years on the last season of Brady Bunch. The ploy did not work in that case, and it never does. The show was canceled soon after that. So many other shows tried this ploy. We'll go down a list, a brief list. Family Ties, as we discussed. Andy was brought on, played by Brian Bonsall. Happy Days, Heather O'Rourke. All in the Family, Danielle Brisbois. 8 is Enough, Ralph Macchio. One Day at a Time, Alex. The Cosby Show, Raven Simone. What's Happening, Little Earl. Different Strokes, Danny Cooksey. The Partridge Family, Ricky Segal. My Three Sons, Dodie. Family, Annie. The Facts of Life, Mackenzie Austin. Little House on the Prairie, Jason Bateman. And Cassandra, Melissa Francis, as well as many other shows. In fact, Growing Pains had 2 cases of Cousin Oliver syndrome. Little Chrissy was another example. In each of these cases, the ploy failed, and the show was canceled soon after the arrival of the new kid.
Mike, you give a new meaning to the word vacuous.
Oh, yeah? What was the old meaning?
I rest my case.
Elizabeth Ward was originally cast as Carol. She beat out Tracy Gold during the auditions for the role, but tested badly with audiences. So producers asked Tracy Gold to read for the part again. Gold initially said no. She had already auditioned for the part and had moved on. But the producers were persistent. Gold eventually relented, and the rest is television history. And let's compare the two. Both series debuted in the 1980s and ran for 7 seasons, becoming integral parts of the decade's pop culture landscape. Each show centered around a loving family dealing with the trials and tribulations of raising children, offering relatable and heartwarming narratives. Both series featured well-developed characters who grew and evolved over the course of the show, creating a deep connection with viewers. And there were differences too. Family Ties frequently addressed political and social issues, particularly through the clash between Stephen, Elise, and Alex. In contrast, Growing Pains focused more on family values and everyday problems without diving deeply into political themes. Well, not too deeply. In Family Ties, both parents were former hippies with liberal views, while in Growing Pains, Jason Seaver's role as a psychiatrist working from home allowed for a unique dynamic in his involvement with the family. While both shows were comedic, Family Ties often incorporated more satire and political humor, whereas Growing Pains leaned towards traditional family sitcom humor with a stronger emphasis on feel-good moments. Family Ties and Growing Pains are two quintessential family sitcoms from the 1980s, each offering its own unique take on the challenges and joys of family life. Family Ties stood out for its political commentary and the memorable character of Alex P. Keaton, while Growing Pains charmed audiences with its heartwarming stories and the lovable Seaver family. Both series have left an indelible mark on television history and continue to be cherished by fans old and new. And that was our show for today. What do you think? Were you a fan of Family Ties? Were you a fan of Growing Pains? Did you like one over the other? Did you watch both? Maybe you like both the same. I don't know. You tell me in the comments section below what you thought. Until next time, I'd be honored if you subscribe to my channel, click the little bell to stay informed, share this show so that others can find me too, and check out the Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter franchise, which is also in the comments section. Until next time, this is Kevin Gibbons saying, live long and prosper. May the force be with you and keep reaching for the stars.